This is another one where we'll mix this into the White Mountains trip as well, because they both are destinations that are between 150 to 200 miles away from us, at least in Boston, and where we can go on a single charge, still have enough juice to knock about for the first day or so before we have to think about charging. And then even without destination charging at the hotel, we're able to go to local towns, local restaurants, tourist attractions like the mountain resorts, and there are places where we can plug in and Welcome to another summer road trip. This one's a little bit different, with a couple of trips that we took in August put together. It's very little fast charging in these ones, primarily because we had so much opportunity to destination charge, but not actually, as I said, at the hotel. Up to the White Mountains in New Hampshire or over to the Catskill Mountains in New York. Neither of the accommodations there had level 2 charging, so this one looks at more where you can go and what you can do to find level 2 charging in the communities, the attractions and the places that you visit when you don't have it at your accommodation, and when in some cases fast charging is limited. Let's jump into the trips and see what we looked like when we got there, how we charged up when we were in the area, and how we got back to Boston. So stuffed to the gills as usual. We have 251 miles on the go, only 150 to go, so plenty of room for mountain elevation, droppage and aircon, which we will need. Reset the trip meter. This is all just local driving with AC blasting, so that's what you're looking at for that kind of driving, but down to 0 miles, 0 kilowatt hours used. Planning any trips to mountain places, maybe actually the White Mountains themselves, lots of level 2 charging can always help, especially if you're around for a week in any resort. But you know, it shows the variations of people asking for DC fast charging. I do think it's a nice addition to have, and some people will want a quick visit, weekend trips, that kind of thing, maybe even day trips for some folks who are closer. But you know, overall, if you're going for an extended stay in any place, if it has level 2 charging, you're in good shape. You can make use of those facilities, visit the businesses that are, you know, supporting the level 2 charging, and it's kind of a win-win for everybody. You get juice, they get customers. Very happy to do that, to support those businesses. It's helpful to have that throughout the week and just kind of build up your charge there, and then on you go, come home. So a quick lunch and a charge, 40% state of charge. Let's climb a mountain. local trip stats. We've got 463 miles covered, 106 kilowatt hours used. So we'll look at the overall efficiency for the trip, put that up on the screen. We've got 7% used in climate settings, 93% in driving and accessories, nothing on battery conditioning. But this is the efficiency since leaving, well actually from down Mount Washington, then around town a little bit and coming home. So that took a while to come down. It's obviously a lot of that's downhill, so that's helping, and it's also slower roads up in the mountains, so that's why it's so good. Usually at highway speeds we would see closer to 3.7 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. And as I say, we had a good run. Lots of local charging on level 2s at Settlers Green, especially the shops and restaurants there. Very nice area to charge. We had some local businesses that offered free charging. A bunch of resorts in the area. Ours did not offer charging, although we potentially could have asked about wall charging, but there were so many level 2 plugs around the various visitor centres, mountain resorts and town centres and shopping that we really didn't need to think about it too much. So here we are in the beautiful Hudson Valley. A bit of a rainy, gloomy day, but in general, pretty nice trip. And this is another one where we'll mix this into the White Mountains trip as well, because they both are destinations that are between 150 to 200 miles away from us, at least in Boston, and where we can go on a single charge, still have enough juice to knock about for the first day or so before we have to think about charging. And then even without destination charging at the hotel, we're able to go to local towns, local restaurants, tourist attractions like the mountain resorts, and there are places where we can plug in and top up. So it's one of those things where you don't actually need destination charging at your the place you're staying if the local communities have invested a little bit in level 2. And again, we'll go and spend money in those towns, so spend some time in them because there's level 2 charging for them. We still have 20% of the battery here. We'll cut over some of the footage with how much we've got left. We've averaged about 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Now this might be tougher in winter, but then your use case changes a little bit in winter. At least for us, a lot of our travel in winter is over to family, so we're trying to get there for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. You want to be at your destination, and if there's a stop on the way, usually we would prioritize a destination charger there, having L2 charging at the hotel so that we can start the next day of travel with a full battery. But in this kind of situation, we're here for a long weekend, you know, just put L2 charging into your plans a little bit. If there's some locally, that's great. Just pop around to a town where you can eat. You're going to be eating lunch out most of the time if you're away. You're going to be visiting certain attractions, and it just kind of balances into the vacation. So it's another aspect of destination charging. It doesn't always have to be at your hotel. It can be in the local towns, the resorts, the tourist attractions that you visit, and New York State does a great job of that. You know, the fast charging situation is still a work in progress, we know that, but there's definitely no shortage of level 2 plugs. A lot of the little towns and municipalities have installed them. In this case today we'll be at Saugerties, where there's one at the town hall, at the library, at a bunch of the kind of local things that you would go and see. Top our battery up, we'll probably get up to 50-60%. You can just use the fast charging on the way home, so we would need a charge then to get us back to Boston, but at the same time we'll be stopping somewhere for either lunch or dinner, so it kind of fits into that. So really on these kind of local single charge trips, then it doesn't really make a difference that much. It's just, you know, you do have to be aware of it. As with anything driving an electric car, we're still at the early stages of infrastructure, so you have to be, you know, conscious of what's in your area and the places you're visiting. So that might not be for everybody, but at the same time, you know, it does lead you to some interesting places. Up in the White Mountains, we hit some of the trails because they had charging, and they were great places to hike for a couple of hours. Down here it's going to be interesting towns and places along the Hudson River. So destination charging, think about it in multiple different lights. Attractions, hotels, nature, wherever you can get it, it's going into these places, and we're happy to see it go in. So, and if you're a place of business, a town that wants to bring people with electric cars to spend their money and time, or any kind of resort really that would want to attract people who would like to charge overnight, then just you know, think about installing these things, because they are going to bring you business, and more people are going to be on the roads in electric cars thinking about how they charge. So it's going to be a win-win for everybody, I think. It's a 50 kilowatt station. Off to the races. Hope you drive it. Then a weekend away to the Hudson Valley, 500 plus miles still, but only one fast charge there at the Capital Region Welcome Centre. Leisurely complimentary charge that got us home, and not even flashing or low or anything. That's probably under 10%, but that's not that close relatively. In that sweet spot of the 70s, didn't really rise much above 80. A lot of this trip was in the 70-degree range, so not a lot of climate settings, not much AC going, but even when you do have it blasting, it's not pulling a lot. And 140 kilowatt hours, 534. We did 10 before we left, so this is the actual number for the journey to New York and back. So not bad at all. We will look at the numbers, but again, most of that level 2 charging, probably only a few dollars, and then a complimentary charge from 23% to about 80 something on the last day here. good stuff. Nice weekend getaway and very easy to do thanks to the forethought of New York State in putting in so many neat charging locations. As always, thanks for watching and talk to you soon.